Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. I have to share with you what I can only describe as a major red flag from a founding member of the team that is launching a prominent sidechain for the XRP ledger. It's truly alarming. I can't explain it, and I will tell you the conversation that led to me ultimately making this very video is among, if it's not the most bizarre conversation that I've ever had with another XRP community member, then it's way up there. It might be the very most bizarre. And, you know, it just honestly, and you'll see why as I go through the video, because I'm going to show you everything so that you guys can make your own informed decision on what's going on. But this left me in stunned disbelief. So before I gave my final reply to the gentleman in question here, I was sitting there and I just had like one of those jaw drop moments where I was like, am I really reading what I'm reading here? Because it's just, ultimately, I'll just tell you just a little bit right at the outset and then we'll really get into all the specifics. This might be a somewhat longer video, we'll see. But I was asking a softball question pertaining to the Xahau network. And it was just rude, like rude comment to me. And I'm not saying this because woe is me, but that's still a red flag. Like if I'm asking you a softball question about a product that you're part of the team launching, and it's a softball, should be easy to answer question, and you won't answer it, then you start asking me questions in response, and you're getting snippy with me when I'm the most friendly person you could be talking to. Like I'd be among the most like friendly people in your audience, so that you could explain to me why this sidechain makes some damn sense, because there are tons of people, including a bunch of you listening right now, that are wondering how it is that this sidechain is going to be beneficial to XRP and the XRP ledger. There's a lot of questions out there, and I'm just seeking clarity. That's it. And so look, I've made 2 videos previously having it to do with this sidechain. It's called the Xahau network, Xahau. That's pronounced Xahau network, which has a native cryptocurrency called XRP+. Now, this sidechain, that's what it's being touted as anyway. It isn't. It's an entirely separate blockchain, just to be clear here. It hasn't launched, and they're looking towards launching it, if memory serves, either it's late this year or maybe it'd be early next year. But they're moving forward with this thing. The reason that they're moving forward with this thing is because they don't believe that the XRP ledger itself is technologically sufficient to make it through the long haul, because it doesn't have smart contract functionality. Now, I respectfully disagree with that. I think that there is a place for a cryptocurrency that is payments focused. But setting that aside, because that'd be a bigger conversation that we don't have to really get into for the purposes of this video, there are developers, including some of the most, and I mentioned this in my videos where I was talking about Xahau, because I acknowledge, look, my first video, I remember it was about a week ago. I said, look, I just read the white paper on the Xahau network. I am going to share with you what I know, and I did that. But I said, I don't have the answers for everything, but I'm going to find out, and I'm going to report back to you on the channel. That's what I said I was going to do. I said, here's what I know now. I'm going to go learn more, and then I'm going to come back, because I'm not a know-it-all. I don't pretend to know everything. And so I ended up going to Scott Chamberlain. He's one of the founding guys for the Xahau network here. But look, I've said before that I'm not taking a position for or against Xahau and XRP Plus, because I don't have sufficient information. I want to have a better understanding, because even after reading the white paper, I still had a lot of questions. And some of them were kind of basic, actually. But they just weren't included in the white paper. The data wasn't included, which is why there's been such discussion within the XRP community on this. But I've said, and rightfully so, that the people that are seeking to launch the Xahau network are among the most reputable and respected people within the XRP community. And so I said, even though there are people that are questioning whether or not the Xahau network is good for XRP and the XRP ledger, I said that my suspicion is the answer is yes, even though I don't know that to be the case. And I've said that purely based on the reputation of these people. That's why I said that, because I respect them that much. And so Scott Chamberlain was one of these people. I've highlighted him at various times in my videos in the past, so it may be a name that's familiar to you at this point. And so I went to him, and I was just blown away with the response I got from this guy, which is why, again, I feel obligated to share with you what happened here, because I don't know what this means, but hell yeah, it's a red flag. And it seems like just about 100% of people who read the discourse, the conversation between he and I on X, formerly known as Twitter, about 100% of people, so far as I can tell, responded like, Scott, what in the ever-loving hell are you doing here? What are you hiding? And there are people literally, as a result, after reading my thread with him, believing that this is an indication that Xahau and the XRP plus coin is a scam coin. Now, I'm not taking the position that it's a scam coin, but I'm illustrating the point that because of this behavior, it's led people to believe, yeah, this doesn't pass the smell test. And it doesn't pass the smell test for me either. I'm probably not going to speculate on what the rationale is. I am dumbfounded at this point. I truly am. This is the most bizarre interaction, and it's from somebody who's supposed to be a reputable member of the XRP community. It's just hard to believe this is the case, to be honest with you here. So let's go ahead and dig in, and please stick with me because I want your feedback on this, guys. And again, like I said, I truly feel obligated to put this out here because look, I've been around for several decades now. I've been living several decades. I recently turned 40 years old, and I know that if I am kind to somebody and I ask a very simple, straightforward question, and then what I get in response is a rude and dismissive tone, and then people start throwing questions, and like that person throws questions back at me, just through my life experience, that tells me that something's up. That is what happened here. And so again, I just wanted to seek the truth. That's all that's all I'm doing. And so I'm not saying that Xahau is a scam or garbage. I'm still going to keep seeking truth, but first I have to address this because something's off here, folks. And actually, let me mention this first. So Scott Chamberlain, this is the guy I had the conversation with. I want to note that he's the co-founder of Evernode. Here you can see, here's the page on X for them with 25,100 followers. Self-described as a global permissionless layer 2 smart contract platform composed from the XRP ledger coming mid-late 2023. And of course, now it would be on the Xahau network rather than the XRP ledger, but that's Evernote. And so this guy, Scott Chamberlain, co-founder of this. And I want to note, let's go to the white paper here. I want to note that there are, if this will load here, here you can see the Xahau Launch Alliance. They note that there are 5 independent entities that are launching. So there's XRPL Labs. I'm sure you heard of them. That would be with Weedsay Wind. And then there's GateHub. There's Titanium OU, which I wasn't familiar with, where they do consulting and infrastructure stuff, IT stuff. Then there's Evernode right here. You can see it on your screen. And then there's Digital Governing OU, which does accounting and legal service stuff here. And look, I'm not making this video to besmirch the good name of any of the entities. Okay, that's not the point. There's something up with the Scott Chamberlain guy, and I don't know if that means there's something up with Evernode. But as far as the spidey senses, yeah, they've been activated here. But I'm a big fan of GateHub. I'm a big fan of XRPL Labs, and I still think that these people, like I said in videos past, and this still stands, I think they're among the most respected people for a reason, and they're developing on top of the XRP ledger. So I'm assuming that there's a good reason, but I can't get a straightforward answer. In fact, nothing against Weedsay Wind at all. I haven't had a conversation with him about this, but I tagged him in a couple posts, and I didn't get anything from him either. And there's so many people asking. You just think, like, if you want to eliminate the confusion here, maybe you'd like talk to some people that have a platform that can get the word out. Like, here's why XRP Plus is good for XRP itself. Here's why the sidechain is good for XRP and the XRP ledger. I don't know why that's not happening. And so then there's the financial incentive here. And then so as far as the initial distribution, and it's been, again, about a week since I read this white paper in full, but it looks to me, it's on your screen here, it looks like 160 million XRP Plus on this new chain would go to XRPL Labs, 328 million of the XRP Plus would go to XRPL Foundation, and there's a max supply of just 600 million. So with XRP, there's 100 billion max, as you well know, and then for XRP Plus, this separate chain, the separate blockchain, it's only 600 million. And they note here, under point A, for those of you looking at the screen, 12 million to each of the 8 governance game validator seats on launch. So I think that would include Evernode. So if so, that would be a financial incentive, but it has been a week, so I don't know if they count as a governance game validator. So don't take that as gospel, but they're very well may just be a financial incentive for them. And so maybe they just want certain things to be true, even if they're not. I don't know. But there's this post, and this is from September 3rd. This is where it started. And then the last post was yesterday, and then Scott Chamberlain has dropped off. He no longer, and that's fine. He doesn't have to do anything. I think the damage has been done very clearly here, and that's why I want to highlight this. And so Scott Chamberlain wrote the following on September 3rd. We're involved in launching Xahau Network because it has the hooks Evernode needs. It will unlock a new universe of use cases for developers. We may fail. New chains are hard. But for those hodling XRP and hoping, burn to mint is your friend, your hedge against Xahau succeeding wildly. Okay, and so the only thing you need to know about burn to mint, or B2M for short, is that it's a one-way street. So you can, if you want to have XRP plus, then one way to get it, if you can't, so you could purchase it if it's for sale on exchanges, and GateHub is going to offer a trading pair, so you'll be able to purchase it on GateHub at a minimum. But the other way to get it is to purchase XRP and then burn the XRP, and that will result, once you burn that XRP, it will result in minting XRP plus on the sidechain, the Xahau network. So that's the other way to get it. So two ways to get it. You can buy it from somebody, or I guess somebody could give it to you in theory, or you burn your actual XRP, and then you get XRP plus minted on the separate blockchain. That's it. And so there are people have concerns. I understand the question, which is why we're looking for clarification. And asking a question doesn't mean that we think that Xahau is bad. It means that we just want answers. That's it. That's all we want in the XRP community. But there are concerns. Well, does this mean that all the developer activity is just going to be moving over to Xahau? And that's a fair question. And I don't have tremendous concerns about that, but it's a fair question. And so there's this little chart here, which is rather vague. And obviously, this would not be the totality of Scott Chamberlain's beliefs as to the implications of the Xahau network and XRP plus on XRP on the XRP ledger. What's on your screen right now, for those of you that care to look here, I'll blow it up temporarily, full screen if you want to look at this. You can pause it here if you want to read it, and it's in a bigger form here. I think we could agree that this little chart here is not going to be the totality of what Scott Chamberlain would have to say about anything having to do with Xahau and what the primary selling points of it would be effectively, right? But there is a scenario in which he finds that it could actually benefit the price of XRP. And I want to talk about this briefly, and then we're going to get directly into the stuff where I'm just like, whoa, red flag, major red flag. But he does see a potential scenario where if Xahau succeeds, and if burn to mint exists, that would actually result in the price of XRP increasing. And he described the reason that would be the case as follows, which I think is a convoluted way of describing this. And I think maybe you already read it if you look. It's on your screen right there. And I think I'm going to read it to you. And I'm going to assume that the vast majority of you, after I read this to you, will not know what the hell it means, because it's not clear, and there is additional clarification that's needed, and you can expand upon this in any number of ways. And that's why I wanted to ask questions, but he wanted to act like, well, I already said what I thought. You'll see later on. That's part of what he did anyway. But here you go. Under scenario A, right here where I'm circling, he wrote, XRP price increases as people B2M from XRP to Xahau and sell Xahau to buy XRP to B2M to Xahau until new higher equilibrium price found. Did you get that, folks? So you now know, since I read it to you, you now know why under that scenario XRP price increases, right? I'm going to guess the answer for about 100% of you is no. Because the first time I read it, I was like, wait, what the hell does that mean? And so I had to dissect it. And since I understood what burn to mint was already, I get the argument here. And I'm not against this argument here, but there's still the question of, how is Xahau network and what it's doing, how does that increase developer activity on XRP and the XRP ledger? There's additional questions here. But for those of you that want to understand how potentially what he's arguing here, how could this benefit the price of XRP if you're talking about a separate blockchain, it's being touted as a sidechain, if the developer activity is over there, how could that possibly be good for the price of XRP? And I will explain it, and this is actually a reasonable argument so far as I can see at this point. So I cited two ways to get XRP plus on that sidechain. Either you can, technically, so somebody could give it to you, or you could buy it on like GateHub or any exchange that will ultimately offer it, or you can burn XRP. So you can buy XRP on the XRP ledger, burn it so that you get XRP plus minted on the sidechain. Okay, so those are the two ways. So think about an environment where there's wild success for Xahau because it offers smart contract functionality, which the XRP ledger doesn't. So that's the point. Because there's this hooks amendment that has been around on a test net on XRP ledger for over 2 years, and it hasn't moved forward. And we'd say Wind and others got fed up with it. It's like, hey, it's not moving forward. Fine, we'll just make our own damn blockchain. And fair enough. I'm not against them just in conceptual, I'm not against them doing that. I'm just like, everybody build, and whatever happens in the end, cool. I like competition. Totally awesome, man. And so if there's wild success and people flock to Xahau, the theory is, okay, because again, there's two ways to get it. So you could, if developers are building stuff and they need a bunch of XRP plus so that they can build whatever it is that they want to build, they have to buy it from people. Okay, but again, the other way, like I said, is you can purchase XRP, and then you can burn that and then mint XRP plus on the separate chain. So you'll have this situation where what if it's cheaper to purchase XRP? Because again, there's going to be a market price for XRP. There's going to be a separate market price for XRP plus on a separate blockchain. If it's cheaper to purchase XRP and then burn it so that you can mint XRP plus, people will do that. And then, because if there's a higher price of XRP plus, then that would be appealing. So then you've got more activity on the XRP ledger, right? But then what you're going to have is this ultimate equilibrium effect, because again, if there's an increase in developer activity, people will also be purchasing XRP plus on various exchanges, and so it's kind of like the same concept of arbitrage, kind of evening out global prices for cryptocurrencies. The concept's somewhat similar as far as I see it, because it's an equilibrium. An equilibrium is being found. And so, if people can purchase XRP and it's cheaper to do that, and then that drives up the demand, and then there's less XRP available. Because again, if you're talking about purchasing that XRP, whatever the quantity is, and then you're just burning it, that means it can't be sold ever again. It's just purchased. And so buying and more demand, that increases price. So if there's a crazy amount of demand on the Xahau network, that drives up demand for XRP itself. So this is the concept. You see where I'm going with this. So then the price of XRP plus goes up. And then since you can also purchase it from other people, if that's cheaper than it is to purchase XRP and burn it, then people just buy it. And so you get this competition between purchasing XRP plus on a place like GateHub versus burning to mint. Whatever's cheaper is going to happen. So you get that equilibrium. So that's the theory as to how it can drive price. And that's an actual theory. And so that's what he's getting at. But there are a lot of questions. And still that doesn't answer other things as to like, how is it that this is going to drive developer activity on XRP or the XRP ledger? He doesn't want to address stuff. And I haven't seen anybody from the damn project want to actually embrace the XRP community. So they tout it as something that's part of the XRP ecosystem, but they won't embrace it. They won't embrace the community here. And so I came in good faith, and I wanted to understand more about this. So, and I mentioned in my last video where I was talking about this, I was like, guys, again, I'm still learning about this. Let me see if I can get, and I'm paraphrasing here, but I basically said, let me see if I can get in touch with some of the people that are building, some of the developers building the Xahau network and XRP plus, and let me see if I can get some answers, and I'll talk about it in a future video. And so I was intending to get the information and then come back with a video with a full explanation, fully anticipating there's going to be some great rationale for this, and I'd have a positive message for the XRP community. Instead, things went way off the rails here. So I wrote to Scott Chamberlain and I said the following, because again, I'm just looking for answers. And I had a high opinion of him prior to all of this anyway. I had a very high opinion, very smart guy, and I still think he's smart. I just don't know why he's behaving like, again, spidey senses, red flags, all that jazz. But I just was like, here's a guy that could answer this. And so I wrote, Scott, could you explain how Xahau will benefit XRP and the XRP ledger? And so, folks, again, I already cited the theory of how burn to mint could be good if Xahau picks up. I wanted him to explain, because there's a lot more to this. It's not like everything that he could possibly say about Xahau and how that could potentially benefit XRP and the XRP ledger. It's not as though it's on the screen. That's not the totality of his thoughts, and there are a ton of questions that a ton of people in our community have been asking, so I just wanted some additional information. So I said, Scott, could you explain how Xahau will benefit XRP and the XRP ledger? I read the Xahau white paper several days ago and find it fascinating. I see how the technology could be useful. I see how Xahau could benefit from XRP, but my understanding is there is an underlying premise that Xahau will benefit XRP and the XRP ledger. I'm not disputing this premise or agreeing with it because I need more information. The white paper barely touched on the subject at all. If this has already been thoroughly explained elsewhere, feel free to share links to any threads or external sources I may have missed. Thanks for your perspective. I wish you and everyone else associated with the project success. And then I copied We'd Say Wind on it as well, because he's the XRPL Labs guy, and he's also helping to launch this Xahau network. And so again, I think it's pretty darn kind, and I was at the time was a big fan of Scott Chamberlain. I was like, this guy can help me to understand what's going on, going in good faith. I just want to know, and then I want to report back to all of you. That was the plan. That was it. And then Scott Chamberlain comes back and says, I thought I just did. Because again, here's me asking, can you explain this? And he says, I thought I just did. And he added a little winky emoji. And he said, seriously, though the white paper just explains Xahau, it's not a marketing document. XRP Ledger and XRP actually separate questions. In terms of the first, how could Xahau be bad for the XRP Ledger ecosystem? More devs, more use cases, more exposure for the technology. In the same way Ethereum and MetaMask benefit from EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine, the XRP Ledger needs a similar flywheel. Xahau is hopefully just the first push on that pedal. More is better than less because less will eventually lead to nothing at all. In terms of the second, and I think this is what the passively holding members of the community care most about, let me ask this so I can meaningfully offer a view. What do you think makes something a benefit or a harm to the digital token XRP? And so let's pause a note here. I was a bit surprised that he didn't just tell me his perspective on this. Instead of saying why Xahau would be good for XRP and the XRP Ledger, he asked how could it be bad for it. So he didn't want to explain why it would be good right out the gate. He's just, well, how could it be bad though? How could it be bad? And so at this point, I wasn't alarmed though. I was just like, okay, well, I was hoping he'd just give me a straightforward answer, but okay. And then he's asking me what I think could be good or bad for XRP itself. And so what I was thinking at that point was, well, it doesn't matter what I think. I need to know what you think. Like, my opinions about what would be good or bad for XRP is irrelevant. That's a very broad question and completely irrelevant. That's what I was thinking internally. So I was like, let me try and steer back and just see if we can get an answer on that topic. And so I wrote the following in response, and this brings us to September 7th. Certainly, the Xahau white paper is not a marketing document. No complaint there. However, Xahau and XRP Plus are being touted as a sidechain and part of the XRP ecosystem. For that reason, I was expecting there to be a section in the white paper about the symbiotic relationship between Xahau, XRP Ledger, XRP Plus, and XRP from a technical perspective. Lots of people are curious about this, so I was a little surprised this information wasn't included in the white paper. The white paper is very well written, but this struck me as a notable omission. If Xahau were not being presented as a sidechain and integral to the XRP ecosystem, then I certainly wouldn't expect the white paper to broach that subject. Just like I wouldn't expect any standalone new blockchain to talk about XRP Ledger in its white paper. As far as your question about what I think is beneficial and harmful to XRP in general, that is a particularly broad question. I was really just hoping someone would provide the pitch as to how Xahau and XRP Plus benefits XRP and the XRP Ledger. Again, I'm certainly not assuming Xahau/XRP Plus is bad for XRP Ledger/XRP. I share David Schwartz's perspective on that. I also think the project sounds fascinating and could be wildly successful, especially if the XRP community is supportive. I'm only seeking to learn how Xahau/XRP Plus is good for XRP Ledger/XRP. I can ask a couple more questions just to be a little more precise, I suppose, but I'm mostly just looking for the sales pitch to XRP holders. How will Xahau result in more developer activity on the XRP Ledger? How will Xahau specifically benefit XRP? Okay, and so folks, I think it's pretty darn clear from the tone of my message there. I said, hey, this could be wildly successful. Obviously, I'm more on the positive side here. I just want to learn. I think it's pretty obvious. Any unbiased person would sit there and recognize that that is indeed the case. But then I got this jarring response from Scott Chamberlain. He was very short with me. And here's what he wrote in response to what I said. He said, well, it's not a sales pitch. If you don't get it, you don't get it. And that's fine. No one's asking anything of you. Okay, so I read that, and that one stopped me in my tracks. So that's obviously rude, but that's not the end of the world. That's not why I'm making this video. Yes, it's rude, But I've got thick skin, or else I couldn't run a YouTube channel like this, right? Like it wouldn't. I get yelled at every single day. It's just part of running a YouTube channel. If there's any notable, like it just is the case. So that's fine. And I also thought that maybe I just caught him on a bad day. Like honestly, like we all have our moments. We're all human, right? And so that's what I was initially expecting, because in my mind at that point, even though I thought he was being rude to me, I was like, I like this guy. He's respectable. He's respected within the community, and I trust him. He's built up trust within the community. That's what I was thinking. So I was like, I think I just, or maybe he misinterpreted something that I wrote. So it's either that, or I just caught him, or he's just maybe something, who knows what's going on in his life. There's something bad happening that day. So that's where I was coming from. So I wanted to try and like cool the temperature down, because I thought it was very strange that he'd respond to me like that when I'm just seeking to understand his perspective. And so again, at this point, really effectively, all I've done is said, hey, can you tell me what your perspective is? How is this good for XRP and the XRP ledger? And then instead of responding, he asked me questions, and then he was rude to me. So that's where we're at right now. That's all that's happened at this point. And so I responded to him with what's on your screen now. Just, I want to try and cool things down and get back to having an actual functional conversation with him, because I believed at that point that he probably had an answer. And of course, we'll later see that he doesn't have an answer, or he just won't talk to me for some reason. But that doesn't make sense, because everyone under the sun is asking him the same damn question. So I wrote to him and I said, are you offended by my post? My apologies if so. Maybe I came across in a way I didn't intend. I didn't expect you to be short with me. I'm operating in good faith here. When I don't understand or know something, I ask questions. I thought you'd be a good person to explain to me what I don't know, since you're a founding member of the Xahau project. But instead your stance is that since I don't know the answer, which hasn't been explained with any depth, I just don't get it and I never will? Or does that just mean there is no answer? Note, when I said I'm looking for a sales pitch, what I'm asking for is a persuasive explanation of how Xahau benefits XRP and the XRP ledger. Is there one? This isn't just me wondering. The XRP community has been debating this. Much confusion exists. And this is an opportunity to clear things up. And then you can see I copied We'd Say Wind on this yet again, and he didn't respond either. And so all this, again, it's very peculiar to me at this point, but I thought, okay, I said, sorry if I came across wrong. I apologized to him. I made it clear. I just want the answer. I thought we'd be back on track, right? I was like, now he'll see. I told him I'm operating in good faith. I obviously am. People know that about, like, I'm just seeking the truth. And I thought that would be fine. I thought that would do the trick. It did not do the trick. And so here is the second rude comment from Scott Chamberlain. And this is the one where I read this one, and I was like, something's up here. This is a red flag. This is a guy, he's getting softball questions from me. I'm a friendly audience, and he won't explain it. Why would he not explain it? And so here's what he wrote to me. After I tried to cool down the temperature in the room, he said, well, let's review. You responded to my chart describing how I think B2M protects XRP holders interested in price. I can't simplify that view any further. Let's just pause right there. Again, how many of you, when I just read that to you, the explanation in that chart about how it benefits XRP price, how many of you understood that before I explained it? You just read that and then you just knew what it meant, right? And then even if you did, and some of you may have, and good for you if so, because it was cryptic AF as far as I'm concerned, but even if you did understand it, did that answer all of your other questions about how it's good or bad for the for XRP and the XRP ledger? Was that comprehensive enough for you? Because I don't think so. That was one aspect of how XRP and XRP ledger could be beneficial for it. But that's just one thing. And then Scott says, I explained how I think Xahau benefits XRP ledger as a whole, and you were unable to describe what you meant by benefit XRP. You asked for a comprehensive sales pitch, which I'm not interested in providing. And I'll just pause and note, I did not ask for a comprehensive sales pitch. I asked for a sales pitch, which is just a fun way of asking what's your argument? Like, what do you have to persuade people in the XRP community? Because there are some people who are concerned here. Like, obviously, it's a pretty reasonable question here. And so he says that I asked for a comprehensive sales pitch, and then he says, which I'm not interested in providing. Scott, why aren't you interested in providing your persuasive argument as to why Xahau is good for XRP and the XRP ledger? It's a pretty innocent question. Why aren't you interested in sharing that? What's going on there? You're not interested in providing that? And you're just snippy? Like, It's just weird. Getting aggressive with me when I'm operating in good faith. It's just weird behavior. It's a red flag, folks. I just don't know what's going on. It's a red flag. And then he says, now you're redefining sales pitch to just be a restatement of questions I've already answered and sought to position me as butthurt and unresponsive. I don't think you're the good faith operator here, and I'm just not interested in further engagement. Okay. So that's the one where my jaw was dropping, just like, oh, wow, there's something to this. I don't know what's going on. I mean, to accuse me of not operating in good faith. I mean, I just ran through everything that I wrote to him on this topic. I was polite. I said, I wish you guys success. Just looking for, it's a simple question. It's the most softball question on the planet. Just explain to me, tell me from your perspective, why is this good? And so I wrote something very long, and here's the deal. He doesn't have to read my response. He may or may not have. And he doesn't owe me a response. I don't care. But I felt obligated to respond because to me this is a red flag. I feel obligated to make this video because to me the way that he's responding is a red flag. I don't know what it means. I have no idea, but there's something up here. This is not normal adult behavior. It definitely is not. And so I responded and wrote the following. I'm truly disappointed by your response, but credit where it's due. That's some impressive spin you're spitting. I'll go ahead and take a crack at a review that's grounded in reality. Number 1, you created a vague chart indicating that if Xahau exists and burn to mint exists, XRP price increases. The chart does nothing to explain how such will drive developer activity and XRP ledger adoption, which are core factors in long-term XRP price appreciation. 2, being curious about Xahau, but not fully understanding it, I politely asked you how Xahau will benefit XRP and the XRP ledger. In this post, I thank you in advance for your perspective and wish the project success. 3, you dodge my softball question and choose to not explain how Xahau benefits XRP and the XRP ledger. You only offer more vagueness, comparing the situation to Ethereum, MetaMask, and EVM. You ask me an overly broad question about what I think is harmful or beneficial to XRP without answering my question. 4, my perspective is irrelevant to whatever reasons you in theory have as to how Xahau will benefit XRP and XRP ledger. I decline to answer, since my opinion on this doesn't matter here, and politely ask you again why you believe Xahau will benefit XRP and XRP ledger. I point out that I'm not assuming Xahau is bad for XRP and that the project sounds fascinating and could be wildly successful. 5, you respond with a rude comment. Whoa. Sorry about that. That was my phone. Somebody's trying to do something. Sorry about that, folks. What? I thought that was in silent. My apologies, folks. All right, let me get back into it. Sorry about that. Number 5, you respond with a rude comment stating, "If you don't get it, you don't get it." Of course I don't get it, though. How could I get it when you didn't answer my question? It's such a simple question. How will Xahau benefit XRP and the XRP ledger? It's a very straightforward question. You won't answer it. 6, despite your rude comment, I offer an apology in case I said something that came across in a way not intended. This was my attempt to cool the temperature in the room in hopes we could resume conversation that would be useful to XRP holders reading our posts. I again offered you an opportunity to clear things up for everyone. 7, you respond with yet another rude post asserting that I'm not operating in good faith, which is astounding. I've asked one core question which you still refuse to answer. I don't know what's going on here, but your behavior is a red flag. After your first rude post, I was willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. I thought maybe you were just having a bad day. I no longer believe that. Since you refuse to answer the most softball, basic question I could possibly ask, I can only assume that you don't have an answer for it. My several decades of life experience informs me that when a simple question is asked, and a person responds aggressively, rudely, or dismissively, there's a reason for that. What's your reason, Scott? Given that you're a founding member of Xahau, I thought using the phrase sales pitch would be a fun way of asking for your perspective. After all, a sales pitch is not a bad thing. A sales pitch is just a persuasive point of view. That's it. That's what I was asking for. I wanted to hear your persuasive point of view, and you could have said anything, going into as much detail as you wanted to. There's nothing offensive about me asking for that. If I had asked for your elevator pitch, which is another phrase I considered using, it would have meant the same thing. I'm a business owner. I've been asked for the elevator pitch of my company more times than I could possibly count. These are normal terms within our culture, and you know that. It's not a big ask. If you want the XRP community to be supportive of Xahau and XRP Plus, you're going about it exactly the wrong way. And so let me pause at this point to note, and this is why I feel obligated to make this video. It's because, like, if this is good for XRP and the XRP ledger, we deserve to know why. And if the community ends up hearing those answers and is not persuaded and doesn't think it's good, you got to understand here. The push from this team, and again, I still argue the team is reputable, so I'm just speaking conceptual. I'm not making an assertion here about everybody involved in this, but I'm just saying if it's not good, just note that the team is touting this entirely separate blockchain, the Xahau network, as a sidechain that's part of the XRP ecosystem. And again, it's an entirely separate blockchain. If you're going to say it's part of the XRP ecosystem, I think you deserve, or rather you owe it to the XRP community to explain how it's beneficial. You owe it to them, because what you're actually hoping, if you're saying something like this, you're hoping that you're going to get the support from these people and ultimately the money. And I don't care what they say, because there are some people that are saying, of course, you shouldn't invest in this. It's not for investments, it's for developers. And then when I read that, I kind of roll my eyes, though, because I'm sitting here thinking, how could you possibly believe that? Because you know that without a community and without money flowing in and without investors and speculators, that whatever use case you want to solve on the blockchain, if there's no liquidity and nobody buying and selling it, it's not going to work anyway. So like it's obvious they need people. Can we be real about that? They need people, and I'm not that in and of itself is not a problem here. But if they're gonna piggyback off of the success of XRP and the XRP ledger, and if they want the community to rally around them, like my stance is like I'm ready to do that if they have good answers. That's why I was expecting good answers. I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting rude comments. I wasn't expecting, dodging a softball question. I wasn't expecting any of that. I'm sitting here thinking, well, what's the motive? What do I not know here that you're not telling me? What is it? There's something weird here. And then I wrote, this post is not intended to persuade you. I'm also no longer asking for your perspective on anything, as you've made it clear you can't or won't answer. And so, folks, again, like I said a few minutes ago, he doesn't have to respond to me ever again. That's perfectly fine. But after what he stated and how rude he was and the assertions he made and indicating that I'm not operating in good faith, well, enough is enough, okay? I'm not going to take that line down, and I have every right to respond to this. And if he doesn't want to read it and he doesn't want to respond, that's fine. But he's saying this stuff publicly about me. You better believe it. I'm going to stand up and respond to this because it's bogus. And I then said, I'm only writing this to publicly share my point of view for the record and to point out that everyone in the XRP community can see that you dodged my very simple question and got rude and defensive. You can keep trying to put spin on reality, but our full threat is right here, and you're not fooling anyone. This is all extra bizarre because I'm among the most friendly and receptive people in your audience. I'm sympathetic to your cause and from the get-go was ready to be supportive. I only sought to learn. I couldn't possibly be more pro XRP, and I want to support everything that's good for the XRP ecosystem. Before I asked for your perspective, I had already published 2 videos on YouTube about Xahau. In those videos, I stated that the people behind Xahau are among the most respected and trustworthy within the XRP community, which is another reason I'm dumbfounded by your handling of our discourse. In those videos, I shared what I learned after reading the white paper, and I said that the project sounds pretty exciting, and that I was going to seek out answers from people in the community so I could learn more about it, which is what I was doing in reaching out to you. I was ready and eager to learn your perspective on how Xahau is good for XRP and the XRP ledger, and I was planning to make a nice video on YouTube about it, covering whatever you might say. Everyone in the community knows this about me. So you can pretend that I'm not operating in good faith. You can pretend I was being unreasonable or that I was out to get you. But no one believes it. I'm honestly very disappointed by all of this, as you were previously someone in the community that I had great respect and admiration for. That's why I came to you to learn more. Maybe your rudeness and dismissiveness would have been understandable if I were asking invasive or unreasonable questions, but that's not the case here. I still hope Xahau finds success, and I still hope it's something that will benefit XRP and the XRP ledger. Even if Xahau isn't beneficial to XRP and the XRP ledger, I still wish it success. Why? Because I believe there is plenty of room in the space for many blockchains and cryptocurrencies to find widespread adoption and success. But since I can't get a straightforward answer to my very reasonable question here, I'll seek answers elsewhere. And there you go. And so instead of writing a nice fun video about how awesome Xahau is and how it's good for XRP and the XRP ledger, I have some serious concerns here. I have very serious concerns here. And again, I'm not making a claim that this means that there's something fundamentally wrong with the entire project. It's possible that this guy is just a complete jackass and I didn't know it. That's possible. That's a possibility. But I just hadn't seen this side of him before. And since I had respect for him, and I know that he's smart and knowledgeable, I thought, yeah, of course he'll just share this information and I can report back to everybody on my YouTube channel. That'll be nice for everybody, right? Well, that sure as hell didn't happen, despite my good faith efforts. And then to make an assertion that I'm not operating in good faith, get the hell out of here with that nonsense. Absolutely not. So I don't know what it is, but I just feel like in case there is something that's actually truly bad, I would feel terrible if I saw this and it made my spidey senses go off and I didn't report it, then I'd feel terrible. So I thought the best thing I could do is just report this. And then moving forward, I'm still going to try and get some answers here. I mean, as time passes, I'm still picking up little bits, but we'd say Win doesn't want to respond to me. Scott is rude to me. Like, who else am I even supposed to talk to? Those are like the two big guys that you're supposed to go to get answers here. I'm not getting answers. And so if, you know, and again, if there's something that I missed, that's fine. Maybe there's conversation. The internet's big. Maybe there's conversations I missed and the stuff's already been answered. Cool. But what I see is a ton of people in the community asking the same questions as me. I don't see the answers. If they're out there, great. I'll shine a light on them. If there's great answers that are persuasive, I'll shine a light on them. But you gotta respond. Somebody's got to. Who else? Do you guys have a recommendation? Who else I can even reach out to here? Like the GateHub guy? I mean, I can't remember the guy's name, but there's I follow on. He doesn't follow me, but I follow the guy on X. I think it was the founder of GateHub. I could look him up. Like, I'm really not sure who else to go after. Like, the two biggest names would be Scott and it would be Wietse. Those would be the guys. And again, Wietse, and again, he doesn't owe me his time, but I'm just saying, like, I would be a reasonable person to talk to if he's got a good message that's convincing and he wants to be persuasive to the XRP community. Like, I could help that. I could help to get the message out. And that's what I thought I was going to do. That's really what I thought I was going to do. And then this crap happened. This is such strange behavior. So is it the case that Scott is just an actual jackass human and I just didn't know it and he's just not a good guy? Or is something shady going on? Well, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. So all I'm doing here is just reporting this because something is amiss. Red flags everywhere. The easiest question on the planet that he should know because he's one of the guys launching this damn Xahau network and he just won't say it. He asks questions me. No, Matt, could you tell me what's good or bad for XRP? Matt, how could this be bad for bad for XRP and the XRP ledger? How could it be bad? And then he says it's kind of like Ethereum virtual machine and ETH. With no further explanation of what that means or how it applies to Xahau and the XRP ledger. No explanation whatsoever. But he says he answered the question. He wants you to believe he answered the question. No one's falling for this. No one's falling for this. I just don't understand it. So again, I knew this would probably be a long video. Thank you if you hung through to the end. And again, I'm assuming that there are, I'm still, like, same as last video before all this nonsense happened, I'm still assuming there's legit good answers for this. I just don't know what they are. I'm going to keep trying to find them. I just don't know where to go next. So I'm going to have to look into that. If you guys have suggestions, give me a holler. But I just, again, just based on the reputation of the people out there, and now I don't respect Scott anymore because he's just a jerk. But everybody else, the reputation of them, they're still golden as far as I'm concerned. So there probably are good answers. And I want to get that out to all of you listening, but I can't do that if they're not going to talk to me or anyone else in the community and explain that. And if it has been explained, I want to see it. Somebody point me in that direction. I'm just not seeing it. And everybody under the sun is asking the same damn questions. So I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.